Okay, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3. And I got some sound, so I'm going to start now. I am starting about 15 minutes early, and I'm doing this because there may be some of you bugging out and heading off to wherever for your fall free days. And I'm here and ready to go. And so I will get started. Now, obviously, the beauty of this is that if you come in at any time, you can see this, and you can always scroll forward, back, etc. Okay, well, this is the 18th of October, and I'll make sure of that. Let's check, and it is. It's the 18th of October. This is week 8. And just to keep us, in terms of where we are in the course, you had an interactive session number 4 was due on October 16th, okay? And then you have a hands-on project, which is due on the 18th. Is it due? So this interactive session was due Monday, and then the MIS project number 7 is due today, and that's the one, if I'm not mistaken, dealing with risk assessment. Then today you also had a test on Loudon, Chapter 8, and I provided you some resources to take a look at, okay? And then at the same time I have some TED guest speakers for you lined up, 3 of them, and I want to show you these real quickly. So I'll download the document, or theoretically I'll download it. All right, oh yeah, okay, it's giving me an icon to show me, and I'll download this, or maybe we can see the guest lectures. Great, it's gonna render out for us real nicely. Now, your smartphone is a civil rights issue. That is a very fascinating talk. And here's one of the things about TED that's so cool is, if you want to watch the whole video, you can, or you can watch pieces and bits of it. These almost always come with a transcript, or if you want to view them and not have to listen to them, or say I want to listen to music and watch them, you can always use the closed caption feature. So I really love this. Now, for purposes of common use standards, I really prefer that you download these and then look at them. So I'm going to download the guest lectures file because it's a Word file, and I would enable editing. And this is the direction from which here's how I would ask that. Now we're going to do this first one. Okay. And as I mentioned, you can get transcripts, you can get footnotes with references, you can get closed caption, okay? And it's up, so you have all kinds of good stuff here. I'll show you the transcript. This shows you the transcript of the whole thing. And at each time break, okay? This is it's 7 minutes. But I really recommend you see it because I think it's quite fascinating in terms of what's going on out there. Now, what other document I got open here? Here's another guest lecture. And this is how to avoid surveillance with the phone in your pocket. Again, it has the features of the captioning, i.e. the subtitle. And then you also you go full screen, and it's got a transcript. So again, a very, very nice feature. And then how global crime networks work. This is interesting. Misha Glenny is and I think you'll want to see this because we're, Chapter 8, in the Latin text, as we talked about, Chapter 4 covered ethical and social issues, okay? And that's one dimension of this. Chapter 8 talks about securing information systems, okay? That's the chapter 8 really kind of deals with external things, you know, that you can do to manage these issues. The ethics and the social part deals with issues internal to human beings and why they do what they do, and policy kinds of issues. And here he talks about how global crimes networks work. Again, you can get a transcript, read it. Okay, and then I also have how cyber attacks threaten world peace. And again, I'll have some of you come in late. This is quite good. And you'll want to take a look at it. Again, all those features. I love the features on TED. I wish that I mean, we're posting stuff to YouTube, and I hope on YouTube as you view I provide you a link in these announcements. I hope that as this is occurring, that you're able to see the transcripts, etc. I really, really, truly do. Okay, we have another one or two of these in here is about fighting viruses and defending the net. Okay, and you may you may have to take that one and put it into your browser. So we'll just do this. I'll copy it, and let's go back over here. So you're on here, and I'll put new tab. Of course, I use Chrome. Boom. There you are. So I've got, I guess, 25 or 30 minutes. Well, goodness, almost probably close to an hour, 45 minutes of some excellent, excellent TED Talks. And I would always encourage you to use them. They're free. They're paid for by advertisers. They're paid for by donors. And they are indeed some great ideas. So stuff I really think would be worth your time to look at, which is why I will probably not go too far with this today, because I always try to provide you. It's 1:52, as you can see, and I've started early, and I did so on a purpose. And look, you can always come back and see these, look back and see the front end of these are videos. So yeah, you're in good shape. Okay. And I had gone through, I believe I'd gone through chapter 8 with some of the figures, and I believe I did that last time. This hands-on project number 7, I want to talk about it a little bit. It's due on, it was due today at 2 o'clock. And here I ask you to do several things. Create tabs, name data, custom sort, summary data, BISS 1, BISS 2, and weighted risk assessment. And let's go and take a look at that. It's over on, what page is that thing on? It's hands-on MIS project number 7. And I'll find here project 339. I think that's the one. I'll take a look here real quickly. And let me look at this for a minute. I want to go back here for a sec. Oh, okay. What page is that on? The risk assessment. And let me find it here real quickly. I thought I had given you the page number on it, but apparently I did not. So let me check here. I apologize about that. All right. Yeah, it's on page 339. All righty. And okay, and I give you well, I give you the directions for this, and yeah, okay, now I got it. Okay, I'm sorry. Now we've got that, and we'll go back over here to the files, and we'll grab the risk assessment file. That's one. Is kind of, this is kind of a hybrid. I took, yeah, here it is, the document. Right, this is chapter 8, the hands-on. Okay, yeah, this is the hands-on project. Yeah, yeah. This is Mercer. This is Mercer Paints. Yeah, in fact, it's on page 340. Okay, so let me go over here for a moment, and let's go back. I'll take a look, and I'll edit that. I'll close this off. And let me go back over here to the modules. And I'm going to edit it real quickly so there's no confusion about what to do. I'm the one who created the confusion. And I'll edit this out. Yeah, this is based on that. This is based on the I'll go ahead and edit this. It's based on case 810 over in the Mercer text. Okay, now let's talk about this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the copy the directions there. Okay. I'll copy the directions. Boom. And one. Give you a number of ones there, don't I? All right. Well, let's look at this for just a minute and talk about it. All right. In fact, we'll just go back over here. And I'm going to get the risk assessment file. And we'll download it. The document. Okay. Close this. And this is enabled. Now, I give you the information here, and let me show you. We're going to create a Microsoft Excel file. So I'm going to open Excel. Okay. And by the way, I have a whole number of resources for you. So here's what I want to do first. Before I get off on this, I'm going to go back and talk about a few things I've got there for you in terms of the modules. I have a whole series of resources that I think you'll want to take a look at that will be of value to you. Top most wanted cyber criminals. This is a nice one to look at. So you can see here who are the top cyber criminals, and this is a slideshow. Okay. I think that's from CIO magazine, if I'm not mistaken. Teenagers who become hackers. I think this is an interesting one. I think this is also from CIO. In fact, this is another one of these publications I can recommend to you. I would strongly recommend you take a look at this one. Okay. Now, there's also how many times has your personal information been exposed? That's something that's of interest that you'll want to see. Six things you need to know about the Internet of Things security. These deal with these issues of hackers, and as I mentioned, I have some really great guest speakers for you. Now, I'd ask you to go ahead, and we're going to use that file and open this up to create an MSXL file. So I'm going to open up, I've got the file open, okay, and I'm going to size the screen up, and I'm going to take this table, it's right here, and I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to paste special, and what I'll do is just, I don't want to treat it as an object because then I can't edit it. Well, let's try it as an object and see what it does to us. Okay. All righty. And now let's try something here. No, that's not. So I want to get rid of it. Hi there. Let's see. I have Houston. Houston, you are an MIS warrior. Glad to have you. Now, look, I started about a quarter till. So there's about 17 minutes of content. You'll want to scroll back to see just some housekeeping kinds of things, what's going on. And I've been doing this day in the event people are needing to bug out or have to be gone. So I've already gone through some things here. Like I said, you'll want to double back at the start to see them. And good to see you here. I'm working on that first one, and I want to get rid of that because we embedded it. Let's try to do a paste special, and let's just pick. Let's see if I can put this in here as a Microsoft object. No, as a drawing object. I'm going to go back here. This is the Mercer document. And I think what I'm going to do, instead of copying that, I'm just going to go copy this stuff. I could try to copy the whole thing, but I think I'm going to do this. And then let's just paste. And we will paste it. And we'll keep the source formatting. I don't know if we want to do that or not. This is just one of these things that matched. All right, let's just do that, okay? And so we have that Mercer, the data from Mercer. And so we have the type of security, the exposure. In fact, let's go ahead and we'll make these headers. And so we'll bold them up. And let's just go ahead and format this, and we'll put all boundaries, all borders. Now, I've got the exposure, the probability of occurrence, and the average loss associated with those. And then we can obviously get the total. Now, what I asked you guys to do was to create a Word doc and create tabs named Data, Custom Sort, And so we'll start this first one, and we're going to name it data. Then I'm going to add another tab, and we want to call that custom sort. And then we had a third tab, which would be called summary data. And we'll rename that. And what I was having you guys do was take basically we're going to create like a payoff table of sorts. And they'll have BISS1, that'll be another table. And we're going to name that as, BIZ1. Then we're going to create, I think, a BISS2. And then finally, we're going to create weighted risk assessment. Make sure I've got that right here. Let me pull this up. Data, custom sort, summary data, BISS1, BISS2, and weighted risk assessment. In fact, just to make it easy on my life, I'm going to copy this right here. And we'll rename it. All right, now, as I go through the data tabs, you can contain the raw data, okay? Now, we want to do, in the second, we want to do the custom sort. So I'm going to take this data, and really what I should do, I'll just take it and copy it. Because they're all, there aren't any formulas embedded, so I'm going to take this and copy it over into the custom sort. And we'll put it over here, and we'll paste it. And these, I think, these are pretty easy, pretty easy stuff to do. And then based on probability of occurrence and average loss. Okay, so we're going to do a custom sort. And let's see how we got that. And then we want to do a sort. So let me move this over. This is my little thing. And I'm going to do a custom sort. Make sure it has, my data has headers. Okay. And again, just a very simple little risk assessment. And but on probability of occurrence and average loss. Okay. And so do probability of occurrence. And we'll go, I guess, largest to small. So I don't know, I can't remember if I had designated. And the secondary tab, we'll add a level, would be average loss. And certainly we want to go largest to smallest. So say, well, okay. And just to make this pretty, let's go ahead and do this. We'll give it a nice fill. That's about good. Okay. I'll come down here just to make it look pretty. Put in the same kind of fill. And there we are. Now, so what we've done is this first thing in the data, we had raw data. Okay. Here we have the custom sort. And we sorted them according to the probability of occurrence and then the average loss. So no big deal there. I mean, everybody should have been able to do that at this point. Now, the third thing was to summarize the data, and we're going to put that in the data table, summary data. So I'm just going to copy this. Okay. In fact, what I'm getting, I'm going to copy this. And I'll paste it in. And I'll size up the columns. No big. This should be easy money. And I ask everybody to do the total. So we'll do that. Let's see, the total, okay, for the average loss figures. So do the average, median, standard deviation. All right. In fact, what I'm going to do here is paste that junk in. And I'm going to insert a text box and then paste that in. I can get rid of that if I want to, or if I want to, I can leave it. Now I'm going to get the total. And I'm dealing with average loss, so I'm going to get we'll do the auto sum. Okay, so we got that. Then we're going to compute the median. So we can use the median function. And here, we'll call it, and we'll put this total. This will be the median or the middle loss. We'll come down here and I ask you to do the standard deviation. And there's always a question, should I do the population or the sample? I tend to do the population, pardon me, the standard for the sample. And I'm going to click here, then click copy, and then format painter, and boom. This will be the standard deviation. Nothing devastatingly hard to do. Wrap the text there. And then, so we have the total, the median. We didn't include the average, so let's go ahead and get the average there. I'm just going to insert a row here. There we go. And we'll put the average. Easy money. But this is a way for us to take a good look at these average losses. Now, by computing an average, what I'm actually doing is computing an average of the averages, which is okay. But from a statistical standpoint, you know, not the greatest. Let me see who else is job. Houston, you're still here. You are a MIS warrior, as I would say. Now, we have the total, the average, the median, and the standard deviation. Okay, and what I now have is really some measures of central tendency, like the average, like the median, and I obviously have a standard deviation that shows me the variability in these data. Now, if I look at this, the average is 85,000. So if I were to say sigma plus 1, I'm actually talking about equaling the average, okay, plus the standard deviation. And that'd be sigma plus 1, or 1 degree, or one standard deviation above the mean. Now, if I wanted to see the obvious, the sigma negative 1, okay, then I'm going to come in and I'm going to take, this is going to equal the average, okay, minus the standard deviation. Okay, and so you can see there's quite a bit of variability, and it's the standard deviation. Now, if we change this to the standard deviation of a population, we'll give you this, just put P. Now see what we get. And that changes things considerably. So if I assume I have a population of it really does change things. So it would depend on which of these you think is the most useful and how much historic data you had. So I'm going to go back here to the standard deviation for a population it shows us is a little bit larger than the one for the sample. So we'll do that. And so we see quite a bit of range here, but we don't have that many data. But we also, you can see we have a high and a low, and we can analyze a little bit more. Now, we were asked to do a couple of visualizations, horizontal bar chart, that depicts types of losses of the basic probability of occurrence, Viz 1. So let's go to Viz 1. Okay. First thing we'll do is we're going to copy this instruction, and we'll insert a text box. So we looked at measures of central tendency, and we looked at measures of variability, excuse me. And we have these ranked on the basis of probability of occurrence and then by average loss. Okay, so we'll put this over here in Viz 1. We'll pop that in, and we can scroll these out a little bit more. So I didn't think that we had anything. I'll grab this text box and I'll move it over here. Okay. All righty. And let's see, create a horizontal bar chart that depicts the types of losses on the basis of occurrence. All right, let's click insert, and we'll do a bar chart. And I want a clustered bar. Yep. Now, I want to click on select data. Okay. And for my legend series, now we're going to get horizontal depicts types of loss on the basis of types of loss on the basis of possibility. So I want to get my, I'm not going to have a, see, I'm going to add the types of threats. Let's see if that's what I'm after here. Okay. And then I want the series value. This is on basis of probability. There we are. Ah, very good. Now all I would really have to do, okay, now I'm gonna select the data for that axis. And let's see. And I want to grab, let me see here. I'm going to add see if that does it for us. No, I don't want the series name. All right. I'll remove that. Oh, no. The series name. I think I'm going to have to reverse these over here. And then the values, here we go. And I'm going to click OK for a minute here. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to call this threats from hacker. I'm going to call this threats. And I call it threats by probability of occurrence. I misspelled occurrence. Okay? And then I want to select data for that. I will add these data. And the series values. I think I'm messing myself up here. I really truly am. All right. So I don't want to do that. Cancel that. I think I know what I want to do. I'm going to click up here and I'm going to design. I'm going to axis titles. The primary horizontal, primary vertical. Let's try out, see what that does. So you can see a little bit of messing around with this, but not that big of a deal. And then, okay, well, look, the callouts will do it for us. So we'll live. And we see the percentages down here. In fact, I think what we can do is add data labels on these. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to switch them out, so I'm just going to leave that. But we've got, yeah, 0.7. I think what we need to do is go in here to the select data. And number one, we'll edit that. And we'll call that threats from hackers. There we go. Now we're cooking. And then we'll edit this second one. And we'll call that user errors. No, wait a minute here. And we'll call that threats from hackers. Cancel this and just leave them as, but we'd have to come in here. The callouts will give them to us. 0.6, 0.7, and what they are. So I'm not that worried about that. So if I get someone gets that far, I'm good. BISS 2, you can see, and I just had to create a horizontal bar chart on the basis of average loss. Okay, and we'll just do that. So we're going to do BISS 2. First thing I'm going to do BISS 2 thing. I'm going to copy the data. Now, what I could do would be to use referencing to just simply replicate the raw data, but then I'm going to have some issues if I do some work with them. So this time now I'm going to come back here, and again, this is not that big of a deal. I'm going to do a horizontal bar chart that depicts the types of loss as a basis of average loss instead of probability of occurrence. So I'm going to click insert a text box, and I'll put in my instructions here. And then we're going to click insert. Now we have a 2D bar chart. Okay. And then we'll select our data, and we're going to add the series name, and that will be and then the series values, and this time is on the basis of average loss. All right. And then we'll come in here. And we can even put this losses on the basis, and we'll copy this. And we'll go over here and put design, and we'll add a chart element, and we're going to add an axis, a chart title. Centered overlay. That's what we want above the chart. Yeah. Losses on basis of average loss. Put that in there. And there we are. Now, I'm going to have to size this down a little bit to make it look. This could be done a lot better. I know that. I'm just kind of messing with this. Now, we'll go ahead and edit that. Losses on the basis of average loss. I can come in here and do my work and edit this. And we're good to go. So this shows us. Now, what this shows us is, again, we see this 300,000, and so we can see the distribution of the average types of loss. Okay, and that was vision number 2. Then a weighted risk assessment. This one's a little bit different, but not that hard. We're going to copy the data, the raw data. We'll put them in over here. And with the exposure, the probability, the average loss. Now, what I'd ask us to do here, okay, was to compute the weighted average risk assessment tab, weighted risk assessment. BISS 2. All right, now we're going to do the payoff table. We'll copy this, and we'll insert a text box. And so we're going to compute the average weighted risk for each type of loss, okay? Now, probably as the weighting factor. So what we're going to do this time is we're going to put in the weighted risk. And basically, and then we'll and we'll put this in dollars. Okay. And so now we're going to take, this is simple. This equals B2, and we'll do we're going to do the proper Okay. Me too. Proper cell referencing. There we go. And boom. And then we'll have the weighted risk. Okay? Now, what that does is this gives us basically a payoff table. Okay? And what I would call, not the classic payoff table with, states of nature, probability, and outcomes. That, I'm not asking about that, to do that. But I do want you to see the weighted risk given the probability of occurrence times average loss. And that's in the weighted risk. And that, my friends, is what I was after in terms of that hands-on exercise. Nothing that I think that would absolutely, break anybody's heart. Now, let me come up here for a second. And I see Robert. Robert, I hereby proclaim you an MIS warrior. You're here on Tuesday afternoon, and now I started about 1:45, so I'm going to shut off. I'll go to 75 minutes, but we'll be out a little bit earlier, so folks want to bug out or they've got stuff to do. Samuel, same story there. Shane, all of you are MIS warriors. And so this is really what I was asked for. So let me go back again. Here's the raw data that I ask everybody for. And then, and what I should have done here is let's just go ahead and make this pretty. Put those borders in. And then the summary data. And I should have gone ahead and added a bar. Well, I couldn't. Okay, but in that we got the sum, the average, the median, which is the middle, the standard deviation, okay, and sigma 1, which is basically one standard deviation above the mean, which is really then the mean plus the standard deviation, and then sigma minus 1, which would be the average minus the standard deviation. And when you have a standard deviation larger than the average, you have some strange looking and we had done the custom sort over here. I'm gonna go back over here for a second, and I'll show you. Do the custom sort. Okay. And we had done the probability of occurrence, largest to smallest. That was the primary. And the secondary was average loss. And then we had the summary data, and that's where we summarized. And I'll go ahead and make these bold so they stand out nicely. Well, we got the measures of central tendency and the measures of dispersion. And you can see we have a wide range. And what really throws everything off, the outlier here is employee use by losses. That's an outlier. And then threats from hackers. So yeah, as usual, it's the human beings, user errors, malware attack. But these are two that really skew everything. Okay. And then we did the first visualization. This is where we look at threats by probability of occurrence. And I was putzing around trying to get these titles in. And I realized I can just simply do a call out. And I can add the data, add data call outs. Okay. Those are somewhat helpful, but not that great. Well, we'll keep them because I can still put my cursor on and find out, who is who. Because I can tell that I can tell that from the sorted data. So that was Viz 1. Viz 2 was to take them and put them on the basis of average loss. And the final was to do a weighted risk. Okay? So that's pretty much all I was after in terms of that exercise. Now, before I go, I had mentioned these earlier. First of all, I talked about the TED guest lectures that are there. I really would encourage you to go over and look at them. And there's, this class is 75 minutes. I've got about 50 minutes. And I think you would find if you looked at one or two of these and spend another 20, 25 minutes, you're going to find them of great, great interest. There's some things I also added that I thought you might enjoy looking at. You might want to see, am I one of the FBI's 10 most wanted cyber criminals? You'll want to check that to see. This is a slideshow from CIO magazine. Okay. And then teenagers who became hackers. So you guys, I know you didn't become hackers. You can find out where you went wrong. And then we'll go back here. Up, go back to the modules. And let's see here. How many times this is an interesting site. I think you'll want to go over and take a look at that. It covers how many times has your personal information been exposed to hackers. It's from the New York Times, and you make your choices. You choose yes or no, and they start to build a thing for you. And adding it's about personal tax. So I thought this was well worth your while in terms of seeing it. Okay. Then 6 things to know about IoT is Internet of Things security. And these are these are a couple of links about dealing with cyber criminals. This is an important case going forward in terms of data held abroad. This has all kinds of implications for privacy, but again, it's also an issue for law enforcement. Your run-of-the-mill drug cartel tends to keep their money in places like Switzerland or the Cayman Islands for a simple reason. Those countries have laws that really are very almost impossible for you to get to somebody's information. That's why people bank in Switzerland, because criminals put their money there. Very, very wealthy people put their money, or the Cayman Islands, simply because if you're not the owner, you don't get to see the data. And the Swiss government is pretty circumspect about not letting other people let them know who's in their account. Now, if the FBI comes to an American bank and says, "We want to see we have a subpoena for the bank records of so and so," they're running to go get the data. So this is they're trying to decide what to do about data that's held abroad, and it's going to have some big, 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 big consequences for everybody. It's an excellent article to take a look at. I don't think any of you will be laundering money soon, but in the event you think you might want to, this may be worth your while. Okay, and so you'll want to take a look at some things, little personal things. I think this one will be really, really interesting to know. And I'm not. You can do it on your own and see how many times your data may have been exposed to hackers. Well, it's 2:39. I started a quarter till, so we've gone 54 minutes. I have about 20 minutes of TED guest lectures for you here. And let me say this. I'd choose 2 or 3 of them and go and watch them. And note, you can always look at the transcript. Okay, so I'd say choose 2 or 3 of them, spend 15 or 20 minutes more. Those are like guest lectures, and take a look and see what those folks have to say. Now, for fair use common standards, please load the Word doc down to your machine, save it, and then go to the link. That's how we're able to do, under fair use, to do this and do it well. Okay? So there's about 20 minutes of that to do there. You can also explore these links I've shown you. That you can kill some 20 minutes in time doing that. So you'll get a full 75 minutes of instruction. I hope you have a very safe and happy time in your fall break. And I appreciate those of you who are, as I said, MIS warriors, that you're here today. Folks, thanks a lot, and I'll see you next week.